In this concept, we're going to talk about some additional types of angles. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure. Okay, and we talked about the idea of congruence as it related to segments, line segments. But the same idea can be applied to equal angles. Okay. So if two angles have the same measure, they are congruent. Okay, so these two angles, for example, are both 30 degrees. So they're both congruent, since their measures are both 30 degrees. Each set of congruent angles can be denoted with an identical number of arcs, right? So, for example, here, I could draw a single arc for each of these two angles to denote that they're congruent. I can draw two arcs for both of them. I can draw three arcs for both of them, right? This is just signaling to show that they are congruent, okay? In case there are multiple sets of angles that happen to be congruent, then this is an easy method to tell the angles apart. Yet another type of angles are adjacent angles, which are coplanar angles that share a common side, a common vertex, and no common interior points. So no common interior points, right? Separate interiors from here and here. But these two angles do share a common side, which is BC, and they do share a common vertex, which is B. But again, no common interior points, okay? Separate interiors, here and here. Okay? Yet another type, a very interesting type, and a very easy type to work with whenever it shows up, is the type having to do with vertical angles, okay? Which are angles formed by two intersecting lines and their sides are opposite rays. All vertical angles are congruent. And the reason I say they're easy to work with is that whenever you see them, they're automatically just equal, right? So here, in this case, if we have two lines that are intersecting, we automatically know that angles 1 and 4 are equal, and angles 2 and 3 are equal. Okay, so it makes calculations much easier. Okay, it's a very strong clue to help you to solve problems. Okay, so again, angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical angles, so they are congruent. Angle 2 and angle 3 are vertical angles, so they are congruent. Here's an example. Two intersecting lines, and we have these angle values. We have 51 degrees, and then for the other angle, we have a representation in terms of x, 2x plus 1. And the goal here is to find the value of x. So now we use the idea that these two angles are congruent, and all we need to do is just create an algebraic relationship, right? 2x plus 1 equals 51, and that's it. Just solve for x. So x is 25. Okay. Yet another type of angles are complementary angles. If the measures of two angles add up to 90 degrees, then the two angles are complementary angles, right? So 90 degrees, right? Right angle, okay? Right angle. And then let's say I had these two angles, this one and this one, right? In which case this angle and this angle are complementary because they add up to 90 degrees. That's all it is. I could have also had these two angles, right? Could have had this angle and this angle, right? Actually, sorry. Yeah, this angle and this angle. In which case this one and this one are complementary because they add up to 90 degrees, okay? And you get the point. Here's an example. If angle A and angle B are complementary, and angle A measures 65 degrees, what is the measure of angle B? So again, because they're complementary, their sum is 90 degrees. So angle A is 65 degrees, angle B needs to be found, but they both equal 90. Their sum equals 90. Subtracting 65 from both sides, right, to solve. So 90 minus 65 is 35. So the measure of angle B is 65 degrees. Yet an additional type of angles are supplementary angles. So if the measures of two angles add up to 180 degrees, not 90, okay, then the two angles are supplementary. So 180, looks like this, right? So let's say I had this. This is 180, right? The total angle is 180. But let's say I had this angle and then this angle, right? So this angle and this angle are supplementary because they add up to 180 degrees. Here's an example. If angle A and angle B are supplementary and angle A measures 130 degrees, what is the measure of angle B? So again, 130 plus the measure of angle B, the missing measure of angle B, has to equal 180 because we are told that angles A and B are supplementary. Subtracting 130 from both sides, we end up with the measure of angle B being 50. So 50 plus 130 is 180. Okay? That's your check to make. Okay? And yet another type of angles is linear pair angles, which are two adjacent angles that form a straight angle and whose non-common sides are opposite rays. Linear pair angles are supplementary. So this is just what I described up here, actually. Okay, very similar to what I described up here. In fact, it's the same thing. So angle 1 and angle 2 are linear pairs, meaning they are adjacent, meaning they share at least one, they share one side, and they form a straight angle, so their sum adds up to 180 degrees. Okay, they are supplementary. Okay, and here we have some exercises. Please pause the video, work on these, and come back for the solutions. Okay, first exercise. Find the value of x in the figure below. Vertical angles, right? Opposite each other, so they are equal, or congruent, we should say. Okay, congruent. So we could just write the relation, the algebraic relation, 4x plus 7 equals 135, and then just solve for x, right? So 4x equals 135 minus 7, right? We just subtract 7 from both sides. 135 minus 7 is 128, okay? So x equals 128 over 4, which is equal to 32. Okay? Next exercise. If angle E and angle F are complementary, and that means they add up to 90 degrees. Okay? So they add up to 90 degrees. Angle E measures 15 degrees. What is the measure of angle F? So 15 degrees from angle E plus the measure of angle F is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so the measure of angle F is equal to, subtract 15 from each side, so these go away, 90 minus 15 is 75 degrees. Okay, that's the measure of angle F. If angle P and angle R are supplementary, okay, and that means they add up to 180 degrees. And angle P measures 83. What is the measure of angle R? So again, 83 degrees plus the measure of angle R equals 180 degrees. Okay. So subtract 83 from both sides. So the measure of angle R equals 180 minus 83, which is equal to 97 degrees. Okay, and this is it for this concept. See you in the next video.